everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Music Podcast. Once again, a special Christmas edition today. I have Jim Sonefeld with me. He is the drummer, of course, from legendary Hootie And The Blowfish, who recently completed their monumental summer camp with Trucks tour. Huge, great show with Collective Soul and Edwin McCain. They are set to release a complete Atlantic Records box set on January 25th. Soni, also an author, publishing his inspirational autobiography. Let me get it the right way. Here we go. Swimming with the Blowfish in 2022, an inspirational read that everybody should get their hands on for sure. Soni, also a solo artist. He has written 5 Christmas songs this season that are sure to become part of every fan's celebration of the season. The Christmas EP is called Light of Joy. It's available now. Soni, thank you so much for taking the time.
What's happening?
It's just great to have you, man. The warmth that you guys give off, your personality, your music, it's what we need in this world today, and especially in the Christmas season. It had to be a great experience for you to record a Christmas record.
Yeah, I have, you have to. The funny thing with Christmas albums is, and I learned this for many years in a row, the years that I failed to put Christmas projects out, is I always had this great idea around September or October. I'm going to put out some Christmas music, and I'd call management or the record distributor, and they'd say, "Yeah, well, get it to us about 8 months ago." I'd say, "Oh, right. It's a limited season that is people preparing for it a half year or more in advance." And so I never could get ahead of it. Anyway, last Christmas or right before last Christmas, I started getting that feeling again. Some Christmas music feeling, and I'm going to do a project. And I knew as soon as the thought came into my mind, this is a project for a year away. But I felt like writing the new music during the festive season would help me. There's nothing, I don't know, weirder than trying to contrive a Christmas feeling or sentiment for a song, and it's spring is breaking or it's June.
Right.
That's no good, right? You need to get some snow or at least get out a bad sweater.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
And I got plenty of that. You don't have as much now in South Carolina, but we'll have plenty of that cold weather and snow to inspire us to write.
Yeah, I mean, it takes me back to my memories. I think Christmas, and part of what I want to intimate in the album is that Christmas is very tied up for me in my childhood memories, which of course took place in Northern Illinois, and I found myself in my 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, always going back or leaning into the thing that happened when I was 12 or 8. Why is it and maybe it's the magic of Christmas, obviously, the whole Santa deal and all that. But I wanted to write some songs that might feel like, yeah, let's go back and talk about what was happening there. So, one of these songs, at least, is a very special moment and tribute called Mama in the Kitchen. Yeah. And that is definitely about my time sitting around the kitchen with my mom, who's been gone for 20 years now, as when I was a kid, and with our siblings and everybody.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about that one especially, and about these songs. Where I sit right now was about maybe a mile from where you were growing up here in Naperville.
What?
Yeah. 87th and Modaff, and you were like right at 75th and Modaff. So
yeah.
Insane. A short walk from where I am. So, I really attach myself to your experience, obviously, because we've, kind of, you grew up here. I spent, my later years, I've been here for 22 years now. So, we this neighborhood inspires this kind of thing. It's a beautiful place to be. It's warm. It's very beautiful at Christmas. A lot of people have been seeing this Taylor Swift house with the lights. That was about a block away from where you lived here. Yeah, it's crazy. It's right down the street here. That's what it is around here. So I attach myself to what you're saying here. Light of Joy, this EP has a great collection of emotions running through this. They're spiritual. There's even a little bit of a sad bluesy tune. But then there's, Mama in the Kitchen and that kind of thing. And I really attached myself to that because you talk about helping mom bake in the kitchen. And let me just say the lyric. For most folks, it's all about Santa. They love the tinsel and the lights as they glisten. But Christmas came alive for me with Mama in the Kitchen. And I love your caramel smile, flower on her cheeks, and there's this great writing here, for any song, Christmas or otherwise. But this just, and I talk about that warmth with your personality and who you are as people, and it comes through here. It's a warmth that we want for Christmas, and it's a warmth that we need in the world. And Mama in the Kitchen, very special, autobiographical, like you said, helping mom bake. Is that something that you still like to do? Do you get in the kitchen and bake?
We do. And let me ask the bigger question: was Jim Sonefeld really at 9 years old a help to his mother in the kitchen, or the biggest hindrance ever? Maybe we shouldn't answer that, but for the sake of the song in my memory, it was where we bonded, and I saw her joy. When you're a parent, I think, and I've been a parent, when you're buying gifts and the stress that is real in Christmas, you see that, right? But in the kitchen, I never felt it. It was like she was someone of a different person. That, like, there are no problems when you're baking, right? And when you're with your family and you're doing that. So we've continued the tradition. My mom, before she passed, put together a bunch of recipes that and inspired her and her family growing up, and ours growing up. And when Laura and I got married about 16 years ago, we sort of were faced with, it's a second marriage. You have kids that are blending. What is tradition? What does tradition even mean when you've taken part of someone's life and part of someone else's, and you're trying to invent or coerce new traditions that take time to do? So we got out my mom's cookbook, and we started doing things from there. And that cured me. I mean, I've still got hang-ups with losing a mom, but the thing that makes it feel a little healed and a little better each year when I'm missing her at Christmas is cooking things to honor her. And so thankfully Laura saw that and realized it, and she enjoys it too. She knew my mom very well, and it's a great sort of Christmas thing to take part in. We'll have kids coming home this season, even though they're in their 20s now, all five of them. But
Right.
they'll be, we
Wow.
force them to decorate cookies or put a few ornaments on the trees at least.
That's just so great. They're all in their 20s. Wow. I read the book, and you tell that whole story, which is an incredible story in itself. Again, a testament to who all of you are as people. To have a mixed family like that and make it work. And my kids in their 20s, and one just graduated college, became a nurse, and got engaged now. So
Wow.
yeah, it's crazy. But it's an accomplishment as a dad, and I was a stay-at-home, so it was it's a feeling of accomplishment, and that's got to be tremendous
Mhm.
for you because it was complicated, more than most. So to see them on their own, and being having their own lives, and getting out into the world, has to be a really great thing. And you made all those traditions blend together and work. So you all come together at Christmas still. It's great.
Yeah, yeah, we're all doing the best we can, I guess, when the holidays come around. And there's maybe the other theme in the album is the reality that we have two Christmases, many of us that come together, and sometimes they're at odds, sometimes they work nicely together. But it's the Jesus birth Christian
Right.
Christmas. But you can't deny that, like, the cultural Christmas that's been a part of a lot of our lives uh, isn't very. I mean, you can't deny its importance. It is, if, in some cases, more important than remembering the reason for the season, the birth of a Christ. But the truth is, we practice a lot of those cultural ideas and norms in Christmas more so than the religious ones. And while some religious people may say, no, you can't have both, or you can, you really can. Let's admit
Yeah.
that we do have both, and so I've enjoyed a couple. That's why I wanted to write a couple songs that were not specifically Christian lyric. Now, a couple of them are, and I love celebrating the reason for the season. But I think people out there that just want to see that there is a light of joy around this time of year if you take part in giving and gracefully receiving.
Yeah. And it's the love is really the center of all of this, and the season. And you have that song about giving and receiving love, and it's impactful. Really, I think that's really what it comes down to is we got to love each other, and and nurture each other, and that's just a beautiful thing to put into song. It's a special one, for sure. So
Yeah, no, it is the true reason for the season when you sort of distill it down to one thought. I It's funny. I've been posting little things on my Instagram, Sony time 64, about how I write songs, and I wanted to do a little segment for each Christmas song. So today I was recording the "It's Love" bit, which is
right,
a combination of cultural Christmas and love and
right,
religious ideas. And I remember that I was lightly basing that on the general idea that is a prayer taken from an old prayer that said, it is by giving that we shall receive, and that just very simple idea, which probably was lost on me most of my life, really started resonating when I started writing "It's Love," because I ended up with a lyric in the song: "The priceless gift we'll keep this year is the love we give away." And it seems profoundly simple, but when practiced, you don't need, like, the presents. You don't need all the shopping and all that. Is what you really get built up with from the inside out, is when you give your love, give of yourself, you get a feeling back that is just more powerful than anything else. So that was the basis for that track anyway.
right, right. And that's what when you were talking about that, the mixing of the spiritual and the cultural. That's what came to mind. That song. It's perfect for that. And it shows us that we can have the two, and just love each other and be happy with both of those things in our lives. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. There is a blues tune on here, and it's really really cool. I just want to see you. Um, I think about writing Christmas music and the way Christmas music sounds. There's bells and chimes help. Major chords, of course. That kind of thing. Maybe the higher end of the scale. When you write as a writer, there's got to be not a formula maybe, but certain things that you inject into your writing to bring out that Christmas sound, quote unquote. So I listen to I Just Want to See You, and somehow you do that, but it's this blues tune, and it's just great songwriting, because it's not a Christmassy thing, but you make it a Christmassy thing. So how do you do when you're writing a song like that? are you afraid that it's not gonna if it's gonna lose that Christmas sound somewhere? What is, how do you inject that Christmas sound for you? I think it probably
Yeah.
different for every writer, right?
I mean, every song, you look at the much debated argument, what makes a Christmas song,
Right,
right? If
right.
you say the word Christmas, it can be a Christmas song. Last Christmas, I
Yeah,
gave you my heart. There's
yeah.
no other mention of Christmas in that song. And that was probably in some weird key that I just sang in, not the real key.
Sounded great.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. But you know what makes a Christmas song? So it's either
Yeah.
in the music that you put in there. So there's some tricks you can do with obviously bells and Christmassy sounding things, whatever that is, chimes, like you said, at the high end of the register.
Right.
You know, glowy, warm
Yeah.
stuff like that. So we certainly added those things when needed, but lyrically I came up with this melody. I was out running. A lot of my inspiration comes while I'm working out, either swimming or running. And I'm running, I'm in the woods doing my thing. And here comes, I just want to see you. And it's going in my head. I'm like, oh, yeah, I like that. I stop, I record the little melody and the lyric on my phone, my little voice memo. And that's so I didn't lose it. But I kept humming it that whole run. And I just knew from there, all right, I have the chorus line. I just want somebody who's missing somebody at Christmas. Now I must create an entire song and music to support that idea. And that's the way for me songwriting sometimes comes. Uh, there was a song on one of my CCM albums, uh, 5 or 8 years ago, maybe about. Um, it was called uh, "Not Waiting on Sunday." And I came up with the idea, just that line, not waiting on Sunday. And it was about, getting a message, a sermon of sorts. I just can't rely on church on Sunday morning to fulfill
Right.
me. But I had the line, and then I had to come up with an entire music and lyrics to support that line. Sometimes just the line or the phrase comes first. So in that case, I've got a thing that feels bluesy. It's sort of in a 3-4 time signature, the way it's come out of my head.
Right.
And I just want to see you this Christmas. Okay, somebody got their heart broke. What's happening here? And then I come home and sit down. I had a guitar and a piano I was working on, and I was in the wrong key to start with, and it was way too high. And I wrote for a few sessions in that wrong key until I realized I got to move it. So I moved it down to a more uh, reachable key to sing in and just started coming up with the story. So Christmas comes in when, okay, there's a guy at Christmas. What happened here? So I imagine, and I think I probably was taking some ideas from the Christmas poem about "'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house." Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm looking for imagery. So I'm like, well, maybe he hears tiptoeing, like in the story
Right.
or the poem, and
Right.
maybe it's not Santa down there though. Maybe it's his partner bolting, and that's where I
Right.
get the idea about
Nice.
they're dashing away like reindeer. So I've taken some words, some imagery from Christmas, but to stick with the story that this uh, person got their heart broken on Christmas Eve, and now that's all he wants for Christmas every year is to have that person back.
Man, it's a cool tune. It closes it out, and it's just I'm listening to it, and I'm like, it's just great songwriting. Um, it I felt like you could do anything, and have it feel like Christmas, and
And then,
it's great.
yeah,
It's really cool.
I was happy to get the idea, but really it took a whole new leap in quality when Lee Turner, who produced it and played keyboards, and Luke Sullivan, who played guitar on it, were in the studio making it, and they came up with that line that's in the, I guess, the end of the choruses. That's like very heavy and riffy.
Yeah,
And they produced it in a way that was like, oh, that's almost like Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Like it was heavy and metally to me the way
right.
they had layered it. So I got all new respect for that song after they put those parts in. I'm like, do that a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And that's the chemistry. Producer and artist and all of that coming together. You got a great team there, working with you as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's key. I feel comfortable and just start. Lee Turner has been the longtime multi instrumentalist and background vocalist for Darius's band, Darius Rucker,
Yep.
singer for Hootie and the Blowfish, my band. But we got him over to tour with us this summer, and I found out sort of last year that Lee also produces, and he's got a great home studio. So I was like, oh man, I just thought you were up here playing instruments. I didn't know you had that whole game.
And it's pretty cool. I got a chance to come out, to Tinley Park there and see you. We so enjoyed that show. Collective Soul,
Great
of course,
times.
incredible. Edwin, amazing, one of my favorite artists. Just another amazing songwriter. Just to open that show was a soul, and again, a warm blanket. All of these guys, just so great. Tell me a little bit about the tour. Summer camp with trucks. It was such a, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at your stage set, and I think this is Hootie and the Blowfish, kind of that warm bar band that did good. The guys down the street that did good and gave us this great stuff. I didn't expect a big spectacle. You guys are a simple band. You do what you do. But I come, and you're that. But I come out and you have like this three-dimensional light show thing happening in the background, and it was just beautiful. I'm sitting there and I'm like, I never want to leave here. This is just, it was so great. What you guys did with your music and the lights in that show. Tell me about the production and what that was like for you, because you hadn't been on the road for a little while before you did that. Not to that extent, anyway, right?
Yeah, no, it's funny. We always had a hard transition getting to amphitheaters as a band. We were most comfortable and maybe still are in front of in a bar, like you said, in that place where you can yell at somebody on the stage from the, you know, 30 feet away and they can literally hear you and see your mouth moving. It's that intimate. And so we spent 5, 6, 7 years really working that market and got good at it and got comfortable. And when we sort of quickly in 1995 jumped to amphitheaters with the success of Cracked Rear View, it was hard. It was a difficult transition. And to tell you
Yeah.
the truth, uh, we never sort of looked at it like, oh my God, we're in an amphitheater. We need a big show. We need a big light thing. We just said, can we keep it simple? And so
Right.
those first couple tours in 95 and 96, you can see us up there. We're in shorts. We're in Doc Martens. We're in
Right.
t-shirts. We really don't care to be a big sort of visual show. And I think I would do it different maybe in hindsight to say, let's give people more of something to look at. And by the time, fast forward, we get the opportunity to have sort of a reunion go in 2019 and do amphitheaters again. We knew for sure we need to bring a memorable show because ticket prices have gone up. The pressure is on. There's more bands touring. We're a nostalgia band. We're not the newest thing. We're sort of
Right.
in some ways competing with a lot of other bands that are trying to sell tickets in the summer. So we did a big production in 2019, and 2024 comes around, you got to best it, right? You're not going to like go low. You're not going to go small. So we did a bigger production that was and it's right. As bands get in their 50s, you don't want to look at them anyway. You got to give them something else to look at. Like we're not doing cartwheels and flips anymore. We're not like doing all that. So you better give them something to be amused by besides just the noise coming
Ah,
from the speakers.
you guys are beautiful. You guys are beautiful. It was great to look at it, but it was, but it's about the sound. It's about the people. You guys are smiling at each other. You're enjoying yourselves out there. It looked like great fun for you. Was it always great fun? Was it what you asked for out of a tour? Could it have been, any better?
Not really. I mean, it's easy to for me to put expectations on a tour. Uh, Not just the 2 hours that you're on stage tonight, but you're living together. You've got
Right.
70 some people out there between the drivers and the technicians and the staff and all this stuff and the musicians. I mean, part of me puts this dumb expectation like we're going to be buddies and just hang out all day like we used to when we didn't have other things, and it's going to be so cozy. But when I got there again, it's we've all changed. We're all older. We all have families. We all have hobbies, interests, different sleep patterns, different eating patterns.
Yep.
Darius' star for him has risen so high with this country
Right.
music that it's hard for him to even exist in the simple
Yeah.
backstage areas because he's not just the guy that sings for Hootie and the Blowfish. He's Darius Rucker, and that's
Right.
different. That's a lot more pressure on him. So it is all different, but it makes the 2 hours on stage every night, which I just cherished, the easiest and best maybe part of touring. And maybe it should be that way. And I'm thankful that we have family out there with us. We have family working with us. We have longtime employees. But for me, getting on stage every night and having that connection with the fans, and it's not 200 people in a bar. Again, it's, anywhere from 10 to 18,000 people a night is what we were doing this summer. And
So,
that's what we're there for. That's what I seek. And I also got to sell books this summer, which probably added a bunch of stress to my life, but I did get to meet, every night, go out and talk to the fans, interact with them, and that's something I didn't get to do in 2019. You used to being on stage, and of course, there's a connection when the music is being made and the people are dancing and getting drunk. But this year, I spent about 30 minutes each night out in the concourse signing books and getting to hear from the real fans. I met people that had come from Germany, Australia, South America, a lot of out of town travelers, some first time Hootie viewers. Like, it was incredible to see just the I get the variety of people that find themselves at a Hootie show in the year 2024. So I'm thankful that I got to go out and peddle books because it was a great chance to meet the real fans.
yeah, and it was really cool to see I mean, the place was jam packed, which was always awesome to see. Everybody had a smile. It was probably the happiest crowd that I've ever been in. Just everybody had a smile. It was just this, again, warm blanket. It was just everybody was just having the time of their lives. And I see you out there, talking to the fans, and they've got a chance to get this book, and I think that's a privilege. I see it as a privilege to be able to read this, because it's inspirational. It's a great story. It's helpful, mentally, for even somebody, like myself. I've never struggled with any kind of substance or anything like that, but it's a life story. I don't want to dwell too much on the book, but but it is. Everybody should get this book, read this book. It is it's inspirational in every way. It had to be great to be able to see people. They're flocking to see you and get this book. It's really it's great because that's why you wrote it. I know that's why you wrote it, to help people to get it out here, and to see people enjoying that, and embracing that had to be great.
Yeah, it really was special. And some had come out and they already had the book. They just wanted to say hi, get a selfie, sign an autograph. Other people didn't care that I had a book. They just signed my T-shirt, signed my poster. I'm like, well, I'm good with that actually, because
Yeah,
even though there's a big sign behind me that says I'm signing my book, if you bought a T-shirt from our merch booth, why shouldn't I give you an autograph?
yeah, yeah, and that's what that's what makes you guys, who you are. And I'm sitting there in with these 18,000 some odd people, and it felt like a slightly big bar.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys make it small and intimate. I felt like I was being looked at, spoken to during the show. Me, not the guy way, wherever. There's a personal connection, no matter how many people are there. You got to feel
That's
that as
because
an artist as well.
I mean, I told Darius to look at that guy out there with the beard. It's his name's Scott. He's my friend. Look right at him. Make
That's
this
why.
intimate, Darius. So he was absolutely looking right at you. Yeah, that the connection is tremendous. The bond. I mean, let's just say, how is it that Hootie and the Blowfish are even touring amphitheaters in the year 2024? Cracked Review came out 30 years ago, but we had spent, like I said, 5 to 7 years before that playing music, trying to make it. It's insane to think that the music has had this lasting power. And for an album that still sits in the top 10 of all time sales in the US, these are questions that I don't know how to answer. And
It's
you weren't
so
even asking me, but it begs to be answered. How is this possible?
it's again the warmth of it. The We want that. There's a human element to it. There's a bond. There's a an attachment. It's just I put that record on still. Any Hootie stuff, and I feel warm. I feel embraced. It's comfortable. Uh, I can sing it. Everybody loves to sing, even the people that can't sing. Yeah, everybody kind of loves that, even in their head, just to sing, and it makes you sing out, and it's just this great thing. And I don't really, I get that with a few other things, but you guys nail that stuff. Just in the songwriting, and of course Darius's voice is so warm. Um, but the everything about it. And right down to the shorts and flip flops for you guys. I don't want to see you in leather pants. You know what I mean? I don't want to see. This is you. We're getting the genuine article, and I think that's the appeal for sure.
Yeah, I mean, when we made Cracked Review in Los Angeles in the spring of '94, we didn't put we didn't feel it was authentic, nor did the producer Don Gaiman to put bells and whistles on an album. Here we were in a big studio, real technology for 1994,
Right.
and we decided sticking closer to something that we could achieve live, because at the time we were still playing clubs, would be wiser. Let's just make something that sounds like us. We'll add some keyboards, if you will, and but we sang all the background vocals. Mark played all the guitar parts. Darius played most of his guitar parts. If Mark didn't help him out a little bit, Dean played, and it's a real album that is played by real hands and fingers
Yep.
and sung without pitch correction and developed without drums being reordered with a click track or any of that Pro Tool stuff. I think that's part of the that warmth that you keep talking about is from an album that was made before technology took over and started making music somewhat for us. And I use part of that technology today, so I'm as much to
Sure.
blame. I get if my lyrics or my words are a little pitchy in the studio and I just can't do it. We'll bend it a little bit at times and use some pitch correction. I'm not you know
Right.
not afraid to say that. A lot of people do that. A lot of people do it live too. But when we go
Yep.
back to playing even in 2024, there's no click tracks. We're not on any pre-done music. Darius is singing natural. We're doing all our background vocal parts. It keeps you honest. I'll
Yep.
say that, and
Yep.
I think that cuts through without ever saying it out loud. That's what people are feeling. That's what you're feeling when you're out there, and so maybe that's why it feels so good.
Yeah, and that is, yeah, like I say, you're getting real genuine stuff, music and people, just doing their thing. It's not, like you say, there's not a lot of magic behind the curtain stuff going on. It's guys out there making music, and that there's a real appeal to that for sure. You had Edwin McCain, huge fan of Edwin, opening these summer camp with trucks stops. The story goes that you guys have always been friends, but when you one of the stipulations on you getting signed was signing Edwin as well with Atlantic. Is there truth to that?
I would not say that we formalized it with the contract, but
Right.
they we certainly were pitching friends of ours, including probably Edwin at the top of that list. But we knew we were coming from a place in South Carolina where we had seen and been part of, and North Carolina, seen so much good music being made from bands that came a little before us, or a little after us, or while we were developing our own sound. And we thought, God, we told the people at Atlantic and LA and New York, like, you guys got to come down and listen to some of this stuff. You've never heard Edwin McCain. You've never heard Craven Mellon. You've never heard some of these bands that are legit local bands. And they did. I think the first thing they did was realize, oh my gosh, yeah, Edwin McCain needs to be signed. And so we Edwin probably gives us too much credit at times for riding our coattails and giving him his big break. I feel like he earned it, but he always gives credit that he thinks that we're the difference makers in his career, if you will. And you know, that fair enough. That's the way he looks at it. Then I'll take a little credit. But yeah, we just loved the music scene we were part of, and so we're not afraid to tell these big New York label people what they were missing down here.
It's pretty great, and he so appreciates you guys, and you know, of course, you guys have worked together on your solo stuff with No Reason not that long ago. uh
Yeah,
you know, so it's great to see him out there with you guys, and you know, there's that great friendship. It's really cool. It's really
yeah.
cool.
It was. We want. I mean, strangely enough, uh, working with Collective Soul, who were signed around the same time we were to the exact same Atlantic Records, were on the rock charts at the same time we were. Even with that, we've had little crossover with them through the years, and they're from 200 miles away. They're from Atlanta, Georgia. So it's not
Right.
like we shouldn't have, but we didn't for whatever reason. So while we knew Edwin and had, you know, been friends for so many years, 35 years, uh, it was great and just really a bright light to get the Collective guys on the tour with us. They were such a great addition. They legitimately sold a buttload of tickets because they have a huge fan base,
Right.
and their edge was what helped the tour. And seeing them and getting to know them on a deeper level was just such a gift for me. I mean, those guys, the Rowland brothers and Will and Jesse and their crew, like, what a tremendous organization to be around every, you know, 3 or 4 days a week for 4 or 5 months. That's just like so cool because, you know, sometimes you can go an entire career and have people so close to you with such a similar experience and be wonderful family oriented people and never get to hang with them. And
Yep.
we got a good 4 to 5 month run with those guys.
Cool. That's cool. Yeah, Will's been on a few times, and you know, he's just again just a regular guy, and just so warm, and you know, just a beautiful human being. It's
Yeah.
so cool. You know, and I love seeing you guys together because I get that same kind of feeling. They're a band too. They're just a band. They do what they do, and they do it really well. You know, there's no big magical thing that goes on, or you know, they're out there. The music is the driving force. You know, it's what they do for sure.
They are the, I said this many times on the tour, though, they were the rock stars of the tour. Like, because you mentioned how Hootie feel like we're more simple. Like, we never had like a big image thing, and
Yeah.
but hanging out with those dudes are the rock stars. They're wearing the cool clothes, not just when they get on stage, but they're cool off the stage. And they like just have this sort of I don't know, feeling about them, like, ooh, these are like legit rock dudes.
Yeah.
And Yeah, you see him at breakfast in the morning, and we're all in our pajamas or sweatpants a little bit sometimes, but for the most part, those dudes were, I think their fans look at them, and I do too, as like sort of more rock gaudy, if you will.
Yeah,
Just like a bigger sound and more of like just
crunchy.
ah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. And I
yeah,
loved being part of that because I sat on the side stage and watched a lot of their sets through the summer. It was just like, this is so big. This is like so much more rock than Hootie ever were. It was the guys I look back in the '90s, and I was probably jealous of either their outfits or their
yeah.
photography, maybe their hair. But I had cool hair in the '90s too, so maybe it
Yes, you
wasn't
did.
that. But I'm certainly jealous of their hair now. Now that I have none.
Well, Ed with the suit is great. I love
Oh, this nonstop
Ryan.
fashion moments with him.
It's with Ryan. Yeah, it's
I'll send you
cool.
a picture I have of the last night of the tour. We did some like sort of hijinks, and a few of us dressed up and like Ed. And so I'll send you a
That's
picture
cool.
of
Cool.
myself dressed up as one version of Ed, and our percussionist Gary Green dressed up as Ed on a different night in a really great costume too. It's the two of us. Feel free to share.
Cool. That's cool. I love it. I talked to Will about that. I said, you got a heavy set, and not everything is heavy that they do, but they're a pretty heavy band. They're not a metal band or anything, but they're pretty crunchy chords and rock,
Yeah.
stuff. And I thought, are you going to play a lighter set? And he really didn't answer me. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, I'll have to see. He didn't want to give up too much. But then I go and I think they covered Dirty Deeds.
Yeah.
It was probably one of the heavier sets, and I was like, wow, okay, and it still blended so well with you guys. You guys come on after that, and it's just again. The warmth of it just overcame all, we got a whole mess of different looks on that tour. It was all this great sound of all different kinds. It was really great. It was really cool.
Yeah. I thought it was great. Maybe they pulled some of our softer leaning Hootie fans out of their zone into an edge that they needed to be pulled to.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It worked though. I mean, like I say, everybody had a smile on their face. It was a great, great event.
Yeah.
It was
So
really,
good. So good.
really cool. Really cool. Light of Joy's out now. Everybody can stream it. Do we have a physical copy? Can we get vinyl?
I wish I did all that stuff, but
Okay.
I was a little bit slammed between having to record this during the beginning of our tour, mix it, and finish it while the tour was still going, and then try and get into a promotional mode after that. I probably next season when I get back out there to start promoting this same EP again,
Okay.
I'll have some product, as they say. But no, it's only for
Right.
streaming now. But check it out.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Do you see yourself doing more Christmas songs in the future?
I mean, I really enjoyed the process, uh, but that would mean I'd have to start now, Scott. And I'm not. I'm burnt. I'm a little singed right now after the Hootie tour and
I would.
the Christmas promotions. I think I'm going to take a break for now. Maybe year after next, I'll have part two of Christmas.
That would be cool. That would be cool. Well, we got this for this season and the next, and it's one of those timeless things too. And I think a lot of Christmas music has this timeless value to it, to where we listen to that same song every season, and it never gets old. It's just we it brings everything back that we love about the season. Reminds us to be in a certain place, and this does that. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty.
thank you. I enjoyed. I put a playlist up on my a public playlist of Christmas tunes and included a lot of the old ones and my own, of course. But I've discovered some great new stuff too. Ben Folds just put out a really cool sounding Christmas project. Jennifer Hudson put one out. Of course, her vocals are just out of here.
Yeah.
So good. But there's some great new music still being made too. I was happy to find a way to create some new Christmas memories.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. It's great to have. So appreciate you. So appreciate you making the music for sure. Um, and Sony, stay with me. We're gonna wrap up, but stay on with me. I got a question for you. So, everybody, please stream this. Light of Joy. So special. So it will live with you, I promise, and make the season even better. For those who haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me bring great guests like Jim, Soni Sonefeld from Hootie and the Blowfish. Jim, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, sir. My pleasure.